Well, welcome back to Donington Park, everybody. We've got our final race of the weekend coming up for you in the Macmillan 7. Finishing positions from the race earlier on today, albeit for the final race of the weekend, the third race, the top 10 get turned over. So if you finish 10th, you go to pole. If you claim the win, like Paul Goldstein has done twice so far this weekend, you start 10th. So let me guide you through then the way that they line up. Pole position goes the way of Caroline Everett and Rob Good. Lines up on the outside of the front row of the grid. It's Phil Ingram and Craig Denman that are there on row number 2. On the third row of the grid, Tim Steele has Stuart Bell alongside him, and it's Harry Eyre and Paul Sethi that line up on row number 4. Row 5, runner-up in the race earlier on today, Ben Winrow, has double race winner from this weekend, Paul Goldstein, alongside, and it's Ian Anderson who's there on the inside of the 6th row of the grid, with Stephen Lancaster sitting alongside him. Oliver Smith and Scott Parker comprise the 7th row of the grid, and it's John Styring and Colin Loughlin that are there on row number 8. Row 9 is Michael Kearley on the inside, and James Hall sits to his outside, and it's Neville Sykes and Amanda Anderson that sit there on row number 10. The 11th row of the grid is James McCullough and Marciello Spada, with David Tong and Simon Sharrock sitting there on row number 12, and Fraser Riddington lines up on his own on the 13th row of the grid. 25 cars in this one. We saw 24 cars finish the first race of the weekend. We saw 23 cars finish the second race of the weekend. The only 2 cars that didn't finish the previous race were Simon Sharrock and Fraser Riddington, who, I think curiously, Fraser Riddington set the fastest lap as well. Yes, he did, and then instantly retired on the next lap, did Fraser Riddington. But Paul Goldstein has been the man to beat in the early stage of the race earlier on. He sort of, sat there in third place. He'd started from pole. He wasn't worried about the fact that he was not leading the race. He just was in the lead group. He dropped to 6th at one point, but then beautifully timed his climb in the closing 2 laps, really, back through the order to pick up the win from the car of the grey and the white and the black car of Craig Denman. It's silver and yellow for Tim Steele, and grey and Dayglow orange for Stuart Bell, and Harry Eyre green with some yellow flashes alongside the Dayglow green core of Paul Sethi. And then just to give you the cars in the top 10, blue with a red stripe, Ben Winrow and Paul Goldstein. What other colour could you have? Gold and black for Paul Goldstein. So those are the colours on the front 5 rows of the grid. 20-minute race, and we are going to be starting probably about 10 minutes late from where we were originally expecting to be, but beautiful clear skies here at Donington Park. Let's get the final race of the weekend underway for the Macmillan 7 Racing UK Championship, the 310Rs and the 270Rs. Caroline Everett on pole position, Rob Good sits alongside, and when the lights go out, which they do now on the rolling start, it's a good start from Caroline Everett from pole position. Craig Denman already jinks out from the 2nd row of the grid in the number 29 car. He's going to be looking to see if he can carve his way around the outside, and he might be up into 2nd place. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. He then needs to close the door on Phil Ingram, and I think he just about got that done. There was one car went rally crossing but rejoined without a problem. It's Caroline Everett that leads the way as they tumble their way downhill through the Craner curbs for the first time. Paul Sethi's there in 5th place. He's an easy one to pick out. Ben Winrow has just carved his way through from 9th on the grid up to 6th, I think. And Simon Sharrock at the wheel of the number 16 car is trying to make progress, having non-finished earlier on today at the wheel of his brushed aluminium and Dayglow orange machine. So everybody safely around the first few corners, heading up towards the braking area for Coppice Corner. Locked brakes in the background that somebody is trying to anchor up to avoid any contact, which they've all managed to do at the moment, and they all now start to build the speeds again as they head down the straight and in towards the Fogarty S's for the first time. It's Caroline Everett that leads the way. Is it going to be Craig Denman that's up into 2nd place? I think it will be by the time they get in towards the braking area for the chicane. It's Phil Ingram that's there in 3rd place, and 4th place was at Craig Denman, I think, that was there in 4th position. Difficult to tell now with the sun glinting off some of the cars. Are we going to have a change for the lead of the race? Craig Denman was very late on the brakes, actually. He is there in 2nd place, I should say. Caroline Everett just about hangs on to it. So here they come in towards the braking area for Goddard's. Yeah, it's Caroline Everett from Craig Denman, rather. Then it's Phil Ingram who is next up. And then the chasing pack thereafter as they come over the start-finish line. And then it's going to be Rob Good from Ben Winrow, followed by Stuart Bell, Paul Sethi. Paul Goldstein is up just 2 places, and then it's going to be Tim Steele. And wrapping up the top 10 is going to be Harry Eyre at this stage, who started to come on stronger as the race wore on. Earlier on today did Harry Eyre. Top three have broken away a little bit, with Caroline Everett leading the way. Craig Denman and Phil Ingram completing that little top three mini breakaway at this stage. Rob Good looking to see if he can close up a little bit, whilst the double race winner in the gold car, which looks fantastic with the sun glinting off it, doesn't it? Paul Goldstein looks to try and gain a few more places if he can. He was up 2 places. The largest gainer was going to be Simon Sharrock, who non-finished in the first race off the back of the grid. 10 places gained from 24th up to 14th at the end of the first lap. Impressive stuff from him. And he's almost in that lead train. He's not quite there, he's just coming to the back of the shot now. So for the lead of the race, Caroline Everett, under pressure from Craig Denman, who's got a bit of bodywork flapping already on the car, and it's Craig Denman that picks up the lead of the race from Caroline Everett. Phil Ingram in 3rd place now, starting to feel the pinch a little bit from Ben Winrow, who was runner-up in the race earlier on today. That's the blue car with the red stripe down the centre of it. Ben Winrow breaks as late as he possibly can. We saw Jamie Winrow out doing good things in the 420R race earlier on today. A little bit of dust just being raised as somebody dips a wheel over the curb on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. But it's Craig Denman that leads the way. Now, Ben Winrow may well be up into 3rd by the end of this lap, having started at 5th. Comes over the start-finish line now, and yes, he's trying to defend from the car he's just taken the place away from, which is going to be Rob Good. Paul Sethi is not too far away at the wheel of the number 42 car. It's Caroline Everett now that's back into the lead of the race, having slipstreamed her way back past Craig Denman as they came down the Wheatcroft straight that time through. And you can see just a huge train of, what have we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cars at least in the lead train. Pretty much everybody's in the lead train. Fastest lap of the race, first flying lap of course, that's all we've had, one single flying lap. Paul Sethi, car number 42, who came over the start-finish line in 5th place, having started it in 7th. Now for the lead of the race, off and into the gravel I should say, has gone David Tong, and well, he won't much like the taste of that, will he, as he's gone off into the gravel trap. His car may possibly be able to be pushed out by the marshals, but for the moment he's going nowhere, and that will just be covered by localised yellows. Caroline Everett in the meantime leads the race, but is now coming under pressure from Ben Winrow, who may well pick up the lead this time as they head in towards the Fogarty S's. Yet Ben Winrow leads the way. Caroline Everett in 2nd position. Try and pick up who that was that's there in 3rd place. Was it Rob Good that had worked his way up into 3rd position? And so yes, it was, I think, Rob Good that worked his way up. Let's just have a quick replay of exactly what happened. Oh, typical problem down through the Craner curves. Just a wheel on the grass on the outside. The car's loaded up on that side. You lose all adhesion, and it was a full 360-degree spin for David Tong. And that car is going nowhere, I'm afraid. So he's out of the race. That car will be snatched out of harm's way. So Ben Winrow leads the way from Caroline Everett. Rob Good there in 2nd position. Ian Anderson having to bounce over the curbs to try and avoid contact when they got to the tight point in the apex of Redgate Corner. And then down through the Craner curves, what would be the 4th time of asking. Ben Winrow last time through might have taken the lead of the race, but he also took the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 46.549. So that at the moment could net him an extra championship point if he can hang on to it. So 13 3/4 minutes to go. The marshals working hard, and the snatch vehicle driver to remove David Tong's car from the place where it came to rest. And the main pack of cars just heading down the straight in towards the braking area for the Fogarty S's. Paul Goldstein is starting to make a little bit of progress now. He's picked off Craig Denman on that lap, number 150. Craig Denman now behind him, and Paul Goldstein might actually lose the place back again as he comes out of the Fogarty S's, but he's slowly starting to work his way through. He hasn't rushed about working his way through, and then Did he make a little bit of contact there with the car ahead? I saw something flash off. It might have just been actually the reflection off of Paul Goldstein's car. There is a spin though, and that is for Fraser Riddington, who of course set the fastest lap and non-finished in the race earlier on. He's just had the spin and will rejoin, and that's undone all of that hard work, having started 25th on the grid. He's gone back through the order. Yes, there was contact with Paul Goldstein, because look at the nose cone on his car now. That is somewhat askew. They're not the most aerodynamic cars to start with. It's less aerodynamic now, and the difficult thing for Paul Goldstein is it's sort of sticking up in that corner, and that might make it possibly a little bit difficult for visibility on occasions. Thankfully it's a narrow nose, so I don't think seeing apexes is going to be a problem for Paul. But what might be a problem is, yeah, less aerodynamic than all the rest of the Caterhams, so it might be a bit of a sitting duck when it comes to making a hole in the air for cars behind him. So 12 minutes to go, approaching the halfway point of this particular race. We should be able to squeeze out 12 laps again, which is what we did in both race 1 and race 2. And for Paul Goldstein, the next target for him will be Rob Good, the number 36 car. Right, they're going to let David Tong continue, so he'll be lapping this up, won't he? Rejoining the race. Down the straight comes Ben Winrow, Caroline Everett in 2nd place, Phil Ingram there in 3rd place, Paul Sethi in 4th place. Then it's going to be Rob Good under attack from Paul Goldstein, whilst also getting squeezed towards the curb line was Stuart Bell there at the wheel of his car with the Dayglow orange rollover hoop. And now we might have a change here for 2nd place. Phil Ingram up the inside of Caroline Everett and goes through. So Phil Ingram gains the place, up into 2nd place. Caroline Everett down into 3rd. And that squabbling is only going to intensify, which is surely going to bring the 4th place car, the green car of Paul Sethi, into the mix as well. Harry Eyre gaining a place on the approach in towards the braking area for Goddard. He made good progress as the race wore on earlier on today. That was past Tim Steele, I think, the number 53 car. Caroline Everett tried to retake her 2nd place back, but other ideas being had by Phil Ingram about that, but I think there's not a great deal he can do now, because Caroline Everett, with a good run coming out of Redgate Corner, squeezes her way through onto the top of Hollywood and takes the place back away. And now Phil Ingram will think, right, okay, fair enough, but if he looks in his mirrors, who's there? Paul Sethi in 4th place at the wheel of the number 42 car. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd were separated by 7/10 of a second as they came over the start-finish line last time through. And just to show how much Paul Sethi has gained on them, he was 8/10 of a second behind the 3rd place car at the start of this lap. Phil Ingram has got a little bit of bodywork just dragging on that right rear. That's only fiberglass onto tyre, but it's not going to do the tyre any good, and ideally he could do with shedding that if he can. Not the tyre, but the bodywork. It may well just flick off at some point. If it doesn't, that's going to be a rather second-hand and very warm Toyo tyre. The difficulty is, when it's warm, he leans on it, it just won't have the adhesion anymore. So bounces over the curbs. It's folded itself under is the problem. It will eventually probably burn away the fiberglass, but in the meantime it's just going to cause him a little bit of grief and a bit of concern. 9.5 minutes to go. Last lap, Phil Ingram, the man carrying that little bit of damage, set the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 46.156. You can see the smoke is billowing from the tail of his car now, but that's not anything for the drivers behind to worry about. You can see as soon as he leant on the tyre there going in towards Goddard's, because it's already hot because of the friction, just didn't have the adhesion, and I'm afraid that Phil Ingram's opted to bring the car into the pit lane and out of the race. And now it's 3 for the lead of the race. It's going to be Ben Winrow that leads the way. 2nd place is Caroline Everett, and Paul Sethi is there in 3rd place and is attacking for 2nd if he can. Can't quite squeeze his way through. Well, Caroline Everett finished 6th in the first race of the weekend. Paul Sethi was 7th in the first race of the weekend. The race earlier on today, Caroline Everett finished down in 10th. Paul Sethi took the final podium spot. So he's in another podium spot now in 3rd place, but ideally he'd like to go one better if he can. But that would be at the expense of Caroline Everett, who is on for her first podium of the weekend. As for Ben Winrow, well, he finished 2nd in both of the races we've had so far this weekend, so he would desperately like to try and claim the win. And at the moment, I don't think there's a great deal that our double race winner, Paul Goldstein, can do about it, because he's carrying the damage on the front of his car following that contact down at the old hairpin. and he just hasn't got the pace anymore. The extra drag is telling. Right, I heard tyre squeal, and off and into the gravel trap has gone. It looked like car number 63, and that ties up with the coloration of the car, which would be Scott Parker. So rejoins the circuit. Off and into retirement has gone Neville Sykes as well. Into the pit lane, some sort of problem for number 104. Race continues out on track in the meantime, with Paul Goldstein really struggling still with that damage to the front of his car. He's got Tim Steele right behind him. Tim's had his woes this weekend as well. Qualified out of position really, Tim, at the beginning of the weekend, and that sort of hampered him as such. Made good progress in some of the race, but you can see, look at the visibility. Paul Goldstein, he's going to lose the nose cone, would be the best possible thing, because he simply can't see now. So some of it flicks off. If it all doesn't flick off, he'll be destined for the pit lane, because that now is definitely affecting his visibility. He's not going to be able to see a great deal, and a black and orange mechanical warning flag will be coming out for him before too much longer, surely. It's also a danger not just to him and in fact lack of visibility, but it's a danger to fellow competitors if that piece of fiberglass flies off, because it's the fiberglass, it's probably got the protective grille for the radiator in it. It's not heavy, but you know, when you're travelling at the speeds that they're travelling, if that hits you, then, or you try and swerve to avoid it, it can be a potential danger. So Paul Goldstein will want to carry on as best he can, but I suspect he knows what's going to come, and he's now not really fighting other people as he's trying to stay out of their way, and I think he's probably going to be destined for the pit lane. Yeah, I think Paul's decided, you know, enough's enough now, and if I don't pull into the pit lane, I'll be given a black and white warning flag, and I'll have to pull into the pit lane. So it's not quite going to be the hat-trick that Paul Goldstein was looking for, which gives one of these three an opportunity to stand on the top step of the podium, as long as they can stay where they are for the next 6 minutes. Paul Sethi with a good run on Caroline Everett. Can Ben Winrow still hang on to the lead when they get to the Melbourne hairpin? Yes, he can, because Caroline Everett has her hands full with Paul Sethi. And as they now go back up towards Goddard's, any delay in their progress might just bring the fourth place car of Stuart Bell back into the mix as well, because he's not too far away. Paul Sethi almost making contact with the rear end of Caroline Everett. So close between the pair of them, nothing to choose, but they still remain in the same order. Stuart Bell's still there in fourth place. Fifth looks like it's Rob Good in fifth place. Tim Steele is now up into sixth place as Paul Sethi attacks Caroline Everett at Redgate Corner. The two of them almost wheel to wheel. Front left corner of Paul Sethi almost touching the rear right corner of Caroline Everett, but they're not able to change position there. And certainly there's a green flag on the exit of Redgate Corner, which, had they have overtaken, might have raised a few little questions. So 5 minutes remain into the final quarter of the race, and whilst it's been a cold weekend, there's been a couple of very light spits of rain in one of the supporting races yesterday. Other than that, there's been no real sign of rain, even with the cloud cover yesterday. And Paul Goldstein has come in. Yeah, I thought he would. Thought there was very little he could do about that, and does the sensible thing. 2 times a race winner, very experienced, but yeah, knew the game was up probably when he first got the damage, and then when it started to flick up in front of his eyes, absolutely time to decide that today's not going to be the day to try and get the hat-trick. There's plenty of opportunities later on in the season. So Caroline Everett picks up the lead of the race from Ben Winrow, and the two of them go wheel to wheel. In fact, let's make it 3 wide, because Paul Sethi wants in on the fun as well. Down in towards the braking area for the Melbourne hairpin, and it looks as though Stuart Bell was there, and I just simply couldn't see him. So we've now got 4 for the lead of the race, with Rob Good looking to try and close in as well. He's missing a right rear wheel arch on his car. 4 minutes to go. Ben Winrow leads the way. Caroline Everett second. Paul Sethi there in third place. Stuart Bell fourth. Rob Good almost with them now in 5th place. Is he missing a nose cone as well by the look of Rob Good? No, he's not. It's just black. Up towards the braking area for Redgate Corner. They all fan out and go 3 wide. Paul Sethi might be through into 2nd place here. There's the lightest of touches between himself and Ben Winrow going into the corner, but so close is it that absolutely you'd expect every now and again to be a tiny little rub between them all, but it's absolutely fair racing, as is always the case usually in the Macmillan 7 Racing UK Championship. This is the combined grid for the 310Rs and the 270Rs as they work their way downhill on what will be the anti-penultimate lap. They'll be onto the penultimate lap next time through, and it's Ben Winrow who has done most of the leading so far. Can he lead on the most important lap, the one that gives you the championship points, the 50 championship points if you claim the win? Up towards Coppice Corner, Ben Winrow, Paul Sethi in the Dayglow green car in second place, Caroline Everett in third place, but with Stuart Bell breathing down her neck, Rob Good, then it's Tim Steele, and after Tim Steele, that is going to be the other car I mentioned at the beginning of it, just got stronger and stronger and stronger in race 2. That's Harry Eyre coming into the mix as well now, so he could be quite literally a breath of fresh air as he looks to try and draw himself alongside Tim Steele on the exit of the Fogarty S's, and has made it stick, has he? No, not quite, can't quite get the job completed, so he's going to have another little nibble as they head up towards Goddard. So they'll be starting their penultimate lap of the race this time through, just 5 more miles to go, to try and work out who is going to be a first time race winner this weekend. Such was the dominance in race 1 and race 2 of Paul Goldstein. So over the start finish time they'll go. Winrow, Sethi, then Stuart Bell, Everett, followed by Rob Good, Tim Steele and Harry Eyre, and Paul Sethi is going to pick up the lead of the race this time through. So to the front, I think for the first time, goes number 42 Paul Sethi. Down through the Craner curves. Fastest lap of the race has gone to Rob Good, by the way, 1 minute 45.644, if I've not already mentioned that. He sits there in this lead train of cars, the number 36 car in 5th position at the start of the lap. There was a sound of gravel there, which does suggest that somebody ran a little bit wide in the lead pack coming out of the old hairpin, but I don't think it's compromised the run sufficiently of any of them so as to split the pack up at all. So round through Coppice Corner they'll head, with Paul Sethi looking to see if he can hang on to the lead of the race from Stuart Bell in second position. Stuart Bell we saw on the podium in the first race of the weekend where he finished in third place. There's one retiree, can't quite tell whom that is, that has stopped there. It's difficult to spot. We'll have to wait until the end of the lap to try and work out whom that is that's gone missing somewhere. But Paul Sethi has now lost the lead of the race, with the slipstream coming from Stuart Bell to go through and past on the run in towards the Fogarty S's. So Sethi leading the way. The Toyo tyres still screaming as they're being worked so hard by all of these drivers. And is he going to still have the lead of the race when they get towards Goddard and start what will be the final lap of the race? Yes is the answer on the way in towards Goddard's, and I'm not sure if yes is still going to be the answer on the way out of Goddard's. So over the start finish line they'll go. He's still just about hanging on to the lead of the race, but Paul Sethi is drawing himself alongside as they head in towards the braking area for Redgate Corner. Paul Sethi goes through to pick up the lead of the race. New fastest lap of the race to Stephen Lancaster that time through, 1 minute 45.3 exactly. He is the first of the cars that's just off the lead pack at the moment, and is often the case. It's usually the first car that's trying to catch the lead pack that's getting the draft of all of those ahead that gets the fastest lap, and that's very much the case. So through the old hairpin, Paul Sethi leading the way, Stuart Bell in second place, Caroline Everett there in third position. Rob Good was fourth place at the start of the lap, and I think he's still there in fourth place. Yes he is, because you see the blue flashes to the rollover cage of him. Tim Steele completes the top 5, and Harry Eyre, who I thought might continue to work his way through the order, has dropped back and has lost the train and the toe of those around him at this stage, so looks as though he is not going to feature in this one because he's in 6th place, a bit too far back and not involved in the skirmish. Here we go, change of the lead. Stuart Bell tries to carve his way through up the inside of Paul Sethi, heading in towards the Fogarty S's. He can't compromise his exit speed, otherwise he'll lose out on the run down in towards the Melbourne hairpin, so he's got to go defensive on towards the Melbourne hairpin, hugging that inside line. The clock's at 0, the checkered flag is ready, but where is the wind going? Stuart Bell looking to see if he can hang on to the lead of the race. Rob Good dives up the inside of Caroline Everett to steal third place away, and as they head up towards Goddard, Paul Sethi is trying anything he can do to try and put Stuart Bell away from the race win, but it looks as though all is good and Stuart Bell is on course to win round 3 of the 2025 Macmillan Motorsport Sevens Racing UK Championship. The win goes the way of Stuart Bell. Paul Sethi in second place. It's going to be Rob Good in third place, Caroline Everett in fourth place. Oh, sorry, Caroline Everett in fifth actually. Tim Steele snuck through on the run to the line to finish in 4th place. Caroline Everett will finish in 5th in the end, and it is going to be Harry Eyre who was in 6th place. Stephen Lancaster 7th, Ian Anderson 8th. 9th will go the way of the number 22 car of Oliver Smith, and I think it will be Tim Sharrock off the back of the grid, who made really good progress in the early stages. What was it, 10 places gained in the first lap from 24th to 14th? Well, he finished 10th after that, so only gained another 4 places in the whole of the race. But brilliant racing as ever from the Macmillan Motorsport categories, whether it be either the 420Rs or the 310s and 270s that we've seen now. They will pack things away and head to Brands Hatch on the 24th of May for their next 2 races. It's only the front and the back end of the season where we have treble headers here at Donington Park, then double header at Brands, double header at Alton, double header at Silverstone, treble header at Snetterton for the final races of the season. So the cars making their way round back in towards the paddock area, and we should be able to confirm our final batch of results for you for the weekend. The win goes the way of Stuart Bell by just a tenth and a bit of a second in the end from Paul Sethi, and Rob Good in 3rd was still less than a second away from the race winner as he finishes in 3rd place. Tim Steele was 4th, Caroline Everett dropped to 5th on the final lap, and it was Harry Eyre who completed the top 6. Stephen Lancaster set the fastest lap of the race as he finished in 7th, ahead of Ian Anderson in 8th place. Oliver Smith was 9th, and Tim Sharrock off the back of the grid from 24th finished to complete the top 10 in the end. As we move into 11th place, in 11th place it was the number 29 car of Craig Denman that finished in 11th place. Despite the spin, it was in 12th place Fraser Riddington who also came off the back of the grid. Then it was the car of John Styring who was there in 13th place. 14th place was Michael Kearley. 15th place was Colin Loughlin. 16th place, same as it was earlier on, was car number 16 James Hall. 17th place was Phil Ingram, who started right at the front of the grid in 3rd place and dropped down through the order. Then next up it was James McLaughlin with Amanda Anderson and Marcello Spada completing the top 20. As we head outside of the top 20, then it was the car of Ben Winrow that had problems and retired late on. He was 2nd in the race earlier on, and Paul Goldstein, the double race winner, also retired, as did those of Parker, Sykes and Tong in 23rd, 24th and 25th position. And that's it. That's all the action that we can bring you from this weekend here at Donington Park from the Macmillan Motorsport Sevens Racing UK Championship. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll catch you later on this season. So until next time, we'll say goodbye.